Fireside Nets brought to you by Empire Sports Media. I'm your host, Spen Harris. He's Pete, a.k.a. at Nets Fan You Know. And we have a special guest joining the show today, easily my favorite recurring guest, setting probably the record for the third time on the show, former Nets big man Aaron the A-Train Williams. Aaron, welcome back. How does it feel to be back on the show for a third go-around?
Hey, well, first off, thanks for having me. And it feels great. And I want to keep that title. I got to be number one. So,
yeah, there are a few people that can say they've been on 2 times, maybe even 3 times. But when it's all said and done, you are going to be the guest appearance champion of Fireside Nets. And you know, since we've last spoken and you've been on the show twice, we do have a new co-host. I had to unfortunately kick my brother to the curb, and we replaced him with someone bigger and someone better. So Aaron, meet Pete at Nets Fans You Know. He's my new co-host.
Yes, pleasure to meet you, Pete.
Pleasure to meet you. I watched you play. I grew up with those J Kids teams. So, man, I'm really excited to have you on. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. My pleasure.
All right, so let's get into it. I want to talk about this last season, not just for the Nets, but just for everybody. It ends with the Denver Nuggets beating the Miami Heat in 5 games in the NBA Finals. What were your thoughts on Denver winning it all? Were you happy to see them win, or were you pulling for somebody else?
Oh, I was happy for them. They're a team who plays the game the right way. They didn't go out and create super teams. For the most part, it came together organically. You know, they signed some free agents, but not, no superstars. They signed Gordon, KCP, and just, role players who really know how to play their role and really were willing to sacrifice for the well-being of the team. And I was happy to see them win it.
Yeah, I think that's what I loved about Denver's championship the most, right? As great as Jokic and Murray were, they don't win that championship without guys like Aaron Gordon, Bruce Brown, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, all those guys making plays. The rookie Christian Braun from Kansas came in. He had some big moments in the championship and in the playoffs. So I love that about Denver. From 1 to 15, everybody, even DeAndre Jordan, got a little bit of run in that game 4, game 5, which is pretty funny.
He did.
So, yeah, I agree with you on that. And my second question is, have you ever seen a player at the center position like Nikola Jokic?
I haven't. I don't think anyone has. His ability to score when need be, to pass, he's probably, if not the number one, passing big man that has ever played already. And his rebounding is insane, especially the fact that he doesn't get more than 3 inches off the ground. He just has great timing and great instincts and great IQ and great feel for the game.
How would you have covered him back in the day if you had to?
I would have just tried to push him out as far as I can. Well, the funny thing, actually, these days you don't have to really push guys out because they're willing to go out there. So, the only thing you can do is try and stay in front of him, make him take tough shots. But he showed time and time again that he hits crazy shots. Shots that, I've been around basketball for 30, 40 years, and I've never seen some of the shots that he takes go in consistently.
Yeah, some of those one-footed three-pointers, like that's a Kevin Durant shot, and Jokic is hitting it with ease. I want to talk about this offseason. There's never a dull moment in the NBA. So a few days ago, Bradley Beal, it's announced that he gets traded to Phoenix. I think that no-trade clause killed Washington. Beal basically got to decide where he wanted to go. He chose to play in Phoenix with KD and Devin Booker. Does this make the Phoenix Suns the favorite in the West going into next season?
I don't think so. There's still a lot of time left for teams to get better and make changes, add pieces here and there, but I don't think this puts them past Denver. And I think one of Phoenix's problems was defense and rebounding. I don't think it necessarily was scoring, is what they added with Bradley Beal. So they'll be able to score probably a little bit better, but their weaknesses didn't get solved. And not to mention they only have 5 players on the roster right now. So it's too early for me to say they're the lead in the West, but I think we'll see what type of pieces they add. Obviously, they can't add anyone, any big time players. They don't have any money left. There's speculation maybe they'll try to move Ayton to get some pieces back, but that's still to be seen. But I wouldn't put them past Denver yet.
Yeah, there's something that we talked about with Denver that was so admirable, and it was the chemistry they had, right? Like that core group had been playing together for so long. I mean, look, as a Nets fan, I think we're tired of these makeshift teams, right? Where these three superstars decide to play with each other, and then you just got to figure out what to put around them. There's no continuity. There's no chemistry there. These guys are learning each other's habits and patterns on the fly. So I'd have to agree with you. I think Denver's still the favorite in the West. It seems like the Suns, obviously they're trading Chris Paul. He's going to go to a team in LA, whether it's the Lakers or the Clippers. How much do you think he has left in the tank? I think he's 37 years old, and this is someone I believe you played with his rookie or sophomore season, correct?
Yeah, in New Orleans. Yep. He has some left in the tank. My thought was this year that Phoenix was playing him too many minutes. I thought they should have let the other guys play and play him, maybe 25, 30 minutes a game. I mean, I think he's actually 38 years old.
Oh, shit.
Either 38 or he'll be 38 next year. Yeah. So, I mean, you can't expect him to play 35, 40 minutes a game, especially if it's not needed. Him getting hurt was inevitable in my eyes. And if he goes to a team where, like Phoenix, he shouldn't have been playing that much where they don't need him to take over games and just, do some things in spot areas. I think he can help a team, but if you're expecting him to play, 30, 40 minutes a game, that's not realistic.
By the way, you were right on his age. He is 38. He turned 38 on May 6th. So 38 years old, still got a few years left. I agree with you. Wherever he goes, they can't run him into the ground. He's still a mid-range assassin. He's still one of the smartest basketball players in the league from an IQ standpoint, but he's 38. So just whoever picks him up, they got to be careful with his minutes.
I think to add on that, I think LeBron is kind of making it a little harder on older guys. Not so much harder, but their expectations are too high. He's like an alien. What he's doing is will never be done again. It's unrealistic for anyone to think anyone in their late 30s can play at that high a level for that many minutes.
Yeah, no, I think LeBron is the exception when it comes to older players looking like they're 23 years old. My last question before we get into some old Nets conversations, I just wanted to know, obviously you played in the late 90s, early 2000s, and what do you find, Aaron, is the biggest difference between NBA players and teams now versus when you played in your era?
The obvious is that players are teaming up to win championships now. That's the most glaring difference, aside from the fact that the NBA has changed the game and it's a three-point shooting now, three-point shooting game. And I think the NBA has changed the rules a little bit to have a more free-flowing game, more high-scoring game, more entertaining for the fans. So I understand that aspect of it, but probably just the players teaming up and the three-point shooting is the biggest difference.
Okay. Aaron Williams, former Nets big man on the show. Pete, we're going to get into some 2001 to 2004 Nets questions, so I'll let you take it away for a little.
So, yeah, I kind of grew up with that team, so I have a lot of fond memories. And recently I saw, what is it called? Something to Prove was put out by the Nets. I heard you had a very nice piece talking about Marbury and Jay Kidd, talking about, I think it was 2000, 2001. Marbury had a great year that year. A lot of people forget it. He was All-NBA, All-Star, one of the few All-NBA net players. And what did he put up? He put up 23 points a game, 7 assists, but then he gets traded the next year. What do you think the biggest differences are between Jay Kidd and Marbury? And do you think Marbury could have had the same success with the 2002 Nets instead of Jay Kidd?
That's a tough question. I think the two players that are totally different, the way they both get the job done, but different styles. And I do agree with you 1,000% that Marbury's overlooked, and people forget how good he was in that year. He was a lot of fun to play with. When a guy like that's on the floor, you never feel like you're out of the game, even if you're down 15, 20, because he can explode for 20 or 30 points, you know, in a quarter or in a half and really get you back in the game. And then I remember that, was it 2001 or 2000, the All-Star game with him and Allen Iverson were bringing the East back, and they were going crazy. And it was just a lot of fun to watch. You know, I was watching it like, that's my boy. You know, it's he gave us a lot of pride, and he's a great guy. He's a great guy who kind of got a bad rap towards the end of his career, but he's a great guy. But as far as him and J Kidd, you know, is more a pass first player. Probably more so than any player I've ever played with. And he just set the tone on defense. I think his defense is what really gets overlooked. You know, he was our first line of defense, you know, guarding the ball. And he really set the tone as far as that. And then offensively, obviously, it's fun to play with him. You know, if you're open, you're going to get the ball. Even if you're not open, you're probably going to get the ball. And because, you know, he sees things you don't see. He sees plays before they happen. And so it was a lot of fun. I can't tell you if Marbury would have had the same success. I don't know, because we did add more pieces. You know, our team was totally different. You know, Kenyon was going into his second year, but we got RJ, you know, Collins, those guys came. So the chemistry in the team and the dynamic of the team changed a little bit. So it would be kind of unfair to say we wouldn't have had the same success because it wasn't the same team.
That's fair.
In 2002, and referring to the podcast that Pete had brought up earlier, you mentioned how great the group of players that you guys had in 02 and 03 were, and that those years were some of the best years of your life. So my question, Aaron, is if you had any moments that you remember with the team where you could just tell that the chemistry was super high and guys just enjoyed playing with each other.
I think it just starts in training camp. You know, once you start training and you're going through hell, so to speak, with Byron Scott's training camps weren't too easy. You know, he learned from Pat Riley, and you know, that's all he knew was just go hard and try to kill him. That kind of makes you bond. You know, pain brings people together. So I think it started in training camp. And then when guys were always joking with each other, from, you know, the first guy on the team down at 15th, we all joked together, and everyone's treated each other equally. I think that's where it starts. A lot of fun in the locker room, pranks in the locker room, you know, putting shaving cream in guys' shoes, and when they come out of the shower, they put the shoes on, and, you know, it's just little stupid stuff like that just seems little, but it's a big difference in team chemistry.
I love to hear that. That's great. And I'm not going to ask who got the shaving cream in the shoes, so we'll keep that secret.
Right.
Let's fast forward to the 02 finals. You and I have talked about this on previous podcasts, but for everybody out there, that was a series that Shaquille O'Neal he just dominated you guys. And I just wanted to know, you know, I know you've talked about this a lot. What was the team's strategy against Shaq, and how did you attempt to defend him when you were in there?
Honestly, I don't even remember the strategy. We probably had about 7 or 8 strategies, and none of them worked. I mean, when I was in there, I was just trying to push him out as hard as I could to get him away from the basket as far as I could, because the shooting percentage goes down the farther you get him from the basket. But the guy's so big and strong, man, and it's almost impossible to push him. You just do your best and hope he misses. Hope he just have him shoot anything besides a dunk, and hope he misses. And but he wasn't missing too much. He went on to get the MVP, well deserved. And you know, it's funny, like, even, you know, watching the finals, they are, you know, especially with Jokic being in it. You talk about other centers, and Shaq's name just keeps coming up, and they keep showing that picture of him dunking on our whole team, just like him dunking on all 5 of us, and I'm the main one getting dunked on. And but it's awesome. You know, it's awesome. It's because I have a lot of fun with it. And, you know, I can tell my kids and my grandkids that I played against some of the you know, top 10, 15, 20 players that ever played the game. And so it's a lot of fun. You know, a lot of people say he's the most dominant player ever, and I got to play against him, so it was an honor.
Yeah, I noticed the last time you were on the podcast that you said you felt you guys had a better chance against San Antonio than the Lakers. Besides, like what you just said about Shaq and all, why did you feel that way?
Because they didn't have Shaq and they didn't have Kobe. Those are the two main reasons. And I just think we matched up better with them. Even as great as Tim Duncan was, and he was great too. I think we just matched up better with them. We won 2 games. And I thought maybe we could have done a couple of things differently. Maybe we could have, got out of there with some more wins. But it's just, it's unfortunate that we made it that far and had to play Shaq and Kobe and then Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Ginobili. And, it's, hey, we did our best, man. But it's hard matching up with those guys. They're arguably, Tim Duncan's another one. He's arguably top, 10, 15, 20 player of all time. And it just wasn't meant to be.
I also noticed in doing research for this that I think it was games 1 through 3, like you barely played. I think game 2 you didn't play at all, and then you started playing after that. You got your kind of regular minutes back. Why do you think that is? Was there a change in strategy? Did Brian Scott say anything, or just wondering about that?
I think we were just trying to switch up stuff, just trying to get a win. I mean, at that point, it's all hands on deck, and there's no egos, there's no, why am I not playing? It's we're trying to win, and do whatever it takes to win. And I think you saw that in these finals. Some guys who are playing a lot of minutes. Sometimes, if another guy got it going, then he's getting the minutes. There's no, you don't have time to whine about anything or ask questions. You just go and you whatever coach says, hey, let's go. Let's try and get it.
So, as I mentioned, I watched you so much growing up. Probably one of my favorite playoff series was 04 against the Knicks when you guys just ran through them.
Yeah.
You shot 80% for the series. Did you? I don't know if did you know that? Like,
What was the
had a very
percentage?
good series. You shot 80% for the series, and you had 12 points in game 1. Like
Okay.
you had a very good series. I just have to know this. What did you guys do after sweeping them? Did you guys go out to a party? Did you guys have dinner set somewhere? I have to know.
I don't think we did anything. Honestly, I think we expected to sweep them. I mean, we knew we were the better team, and we knew we were fighting for the rights in the New York area, and we thought we were the team to beat. It was our time, and we took care of business. That's all it was. On to the next round.
That was the best answer I could ever expect. That was perfect. Love it.
Beating the Knicks was light work. Let's be real,
It was like, I think when I was there, we beat them. I mean, I can't remember losing to them too often. We had some really good teams, and they were struggling around that time. But I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a little extra special to beat the Knicks.
All right. One of my last questions I got for you about the old Nets. Where were you when you heard about the Vince Carter deal? You were with the Nets for a couple of years, and then they don't re-sign Kenyon Martin. All this starts going on. Kittles gets traded for a second-round pick, which I thought was a travesty. And then all of a sudden, VC comes in. You're part of the Vince Carter deal. You're going to Toronto. Where were you when you heard it, and what was your first reaction?
If my memory serves me correct, I think we were in Utah getting ready to play the Jazz, and I was in the hotel room, and I got a call from Rod Thorne letting me know that I had just been traded. And I don't know, maybe it's just me being naive. Like, I never in a million years did I think I was going to be traded. So it wasn't even, I didn't think I was that great a player. So I'm like, nobody's really going to want me. I'm not that great a player. I fit in good here with New Jersey, and I do my thing here and there. But I never, obviously it wasn't just me. It was a lot of us, for Vince Carter and picks. But I think I was in the hotel room in Utah and got a call from Rod Thorne.
Last question regarding the older school Nets. So, Aaron, in 20 years, when some up-and-coming kid wants to know what were the 2002, 2003 Nets like, what one message would you want to convey to younger fans about those early 2000s Nets teams?
I think obviously went with J Kidd and the flashy alley oops to Kenya and RJ. That's what's going to get the most attention. But I think the main reason we were successful is our defense, and everything we did started with our defense, and that started with J Kidd. And we had guys that just took pride in their defense from 1 to 5 on the court, and we played great together. The chemistry was great. When guys came in, the chemistry didn't miss a beat, and I think that was the biggest part. The guys were willing to do whatever it took to win, and we had fun doing it.
So when I have kids, I'm gonna play my kids that clip. I'm gonna say, you guys want to hear what the early 2000s Nets were like? Here's Aaron Williams, who actually lived it. Here's him talking about it. So I'm gonna use that soundbite for my kids. Thank you for that. My hypothetical kids who haven't been born yet. All right. I want to get into this, this current Brooklyn Nets team. Obviously, a tale of two different seasons in 2022, 2023. The first half, you have KD and Kyrie still on the team. Then you get the Kyrie trade request. He goes to Dallas. Shortly after that, you get the KD request. He goes to Phoenix. And it seemed like the season was kind of lost. But the Nets get some really intriguing pieces back in Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. Spencer Dinwiddie returns to Brooklyn. Dorian Finney-Smith also part of that deal. And all of a sudden, the future doesn't look super bleak despite losing 3 superstars in 2 years because of the improvement in play of Mikal Bridges and the confidence of Cam Johnson, just the way they carried themselves through the second half of the year and the postseason. So I just wanted to know, what are your thoughts on the current new look Nets in the post Big Three era? And is there anybody on the team that you really like to watch to play?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think Mikal Bridges shows that he's more than just a 3-and-D guy. He's shown that he can be a go-to guy in this league. And sometimes that's all it takes is a change of scenery and someone who believes in you. Not that Phoenix didn't believe in him, but you have Booker, CP3, Ayton. So he kind of probably got lost in the mix offensively, where he gets traded and now he's the guy. He gets to shoot 20, 30 times a game if it calls for, and he showed that he can do it, and he can put up numbers, and we know what he can do defensively. And Cam Johnson's another guy. He can fill it up when he gets going. He's one of the streakiest shooters in the game. And I think when the trade first went through, I'm sure the Nets fans were kind of pissed off about it. But a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks later, a month later, they're like, maybe we got something here. These guys are really good. The Durant, Kyrie, and Harden thing is just a debacle. And I think to that point, I think the last time we talked, I was saying that the team needed some leadership. And let's not forget that they replaced Steve Nash with Vaughn and with Jacques Vaughn, and I think that's also a huge key to why they start having success. Matter of fact, as soon as they made the change, they started having success. And so I think the future in Brooklyn is bright. They got some good players, some picks, and we'll see how it goes. But I think they can't do any worse than they were doing with those 3 guys, with those 3 superstars. So it's hard to say that the future isn't bright.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. And the thing I like about Bridges a lot is he seems like a selfless dude. He seems like a guy who wants to work for his teammates. Not that KD didn't. And this isn't a knock on KD, but there's a difference. I mean, the Nets got KD when he was Kevin Durant, right? He had already won the 2 championships. He had played, countless incredible seasons with the Thunder. So by the time he got to us, it was KD's world, and we were just living in it. The great thing about Mikal is he's this humble kid. Yes, obviously he's been in the NBA, but he hasn't really touched that star stratosphere until he got to Brooklyn, and he's continued to be humble. And that's a guy that if you're a Nets fan, you see the way he carries himself off the court. He's really ingratiated himself, in the Brooklyn community. He's doing He's going to that bodega in Brooklyn. The guy Raw Money's, he's doing videos with Raw Money. And then, by the way, Obi Toppin copied him like 2 weeks later, which was kind of funny.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You saw those videos?
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I like Mikal a lot, and I agree with you. I think Nets fans were really surprised with just how productive he was in that second half. If you're Sean Marks, Aaron Williams, are there any specific moves that you would try to make to really bolster this Nets team next season?
I don't know exactly what they need. Dinwiddie's he's a great player. Obviously, Bridges and Johnson are great young players, great young talents. Just continue to accumulate talent is what I would say. There's no big trade you need to make or anything like that because your best players are still really young. So just continue to accumulate talent around them, and we'll see what they do in the draft. See how that goes. There's a lot of summer left, so there's going to be a lot of things you have to take place. But I think they have a nice little foundation in place with those core players, and if they can get strike gold in the draft or sign some key free agents, who knows?
I think that a lot of Nets fans would agree with that sentiment. And obviously the popular rumor this offseason is Brooklyn's looking at the situation in Portland. There's a chance that we can pretty much mortgage our future for Damian Lillard, who's, in his mid-30s. And hearing what you just said, it sounds like you wouldn't do that. But would you mortgage your future to acquire Damian Lillard? Or you think it's better off if the Nets continue to build, keep your draft picks, and almost build the right way, right? As opposed to just selling your soul for another superstar.
Me personally, I wouldn't do it. Damian Lillard is a great talent, all-time player, amazing player, amazing guy, amazing person off the court. But I mean, you kind of already did that with the big three already, with Durant, Irving, and Harden, and you see how that went. So that's not always the answer. And honestly, I think even if you got Lillard, you're still not there. You know what I mean? I think you're still probably maybe a couple of pieces away. You need some more depth on the team. So at this point, I would just try to accumulate more talent and just try and get there that way. I don't think signing one blockbuster player is going to get you over the hump just yet.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think a lot of Nets fans feel that way. And look, there are other guys out there, right? We see what the Hawks are doing. There's a chance that they're going to trade DeJounte Murray or Trae Young. I would welcome one of those guys in the Nets. I prefer Murray. I think he's got a little bit more of that dog in him. He's more of a pest on defense. But there are other moves to be made if you're Brooklyn, and you do not have to mortgage your future for Damian Lillard. And I agree with you, Aaron. I don't think you're a Damian Lillard away from being the best team in the East. I still think the Celtics, Bucks, and Sixers are probably better than you if you're Brooklyn. Okay.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Appreciate that. We have approached my favorite segment of the interview, the rapid fire. We're going to give Aaron 10 quick questions. Aaron, first thing that comes to mind, that's your answer. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Number one, favorite coach of all time?
It's actually Byron Scott.
Number two, best player you've ever played with?
Played with? Oh, that's tough. Off the top of the head, J. Kidd. And I played with Gary Payton also. I don't know. I've been blessed to play with so many great players, man. But I'll go with J. Kidd because it's a Nets thing.
It's a Nets podcast. The answer's got to be J. Kidd. I get it.
Right, for sure.
If you could join one team going into next season, which would it be?
If I could join a team?
Yep. Put you on the roster, just drop you in there.
Oh, man. That's a great question. I mean, the easy answer is Denver. Because it's almost like the Joker is almost like the J. Kidd, a 7-foot J. Kidd who just passes crazy, and he's another guy who's super selfless. He doesn't care about stats, even though he gets all the triple doubles there ever was. But I'd have to say Denver, just because it got to be fun to play with him.
Going back to your Nets years, was there one team that you guys just hated to play?
Hated to play. I think the team that we probably, well, Indiana was really tough. I wouldn't say we hated to play them. It was always battles, and Boston. The Celtics was always. We had a lot of fun beating Boston because those guys talk a lot. Paul Pierce will always run his mouth. So
He's still running his mouth.
Yeah. Well, at least he backed it up on the court for sure. But
that's true.
Not against us. He didn't. But we beat him. But he earned the right to talk on the court. But I don't. Off the court, I don't know what he's doing. He's just having fun, I guess.
Him and KG got that show on Showtime. They're pretty funny.
Yeah, it was pretty entertaining.
Speaking of funny, who is the funniest teammate you've ever had?
Funniest teammate? Actually, probably RJ. He's always a guy. He always keeps it loose in the locker room, no matter what's going on, and always joking and playing. And by the way, he was the guy with the shaving cream. So.
So he was the one you guys pranked.
Yeah, we got him.
I love that. I love that. What was the favorite city to play in during your career?
Oh, there's a lot. Just playing in Jersey is cold and freezing in the wintertime. So you always love going to Miami. You love going to LA, going to Phoenix. But it's always fun to play in the Garden against the Knicks, Boston. And I always love coming home. I'm from Chicago, so I love coming home to play the Bulls. So that's always fun.
Who's more likely to win a championship in the next 5 years, the Nets or the Knicks?
Oh, that's a good one too. I would say the Nets. I like their young players. I like Brunson. And I like Obi Toppin. But aside from those two guys, I think a lot of the Knicks players are a little overrated. They're a good solid team, but I think as far as upside, unless New York makes some drastic changes, I think New Jersey look, I said New Jersey. They're Brooklyn now. The Nets have, I think they have more upside, more potential with their young players and with the amount of draft picks they have.
Who's the best player in the league right now? Who could it be? Is it Joker?
I think he's the obvious answer because he was on everyone's screens, last and doing just crazy stuff on the court. But yeah, I'd have to say he's the best now. But I think Greek Freak is right there if he learns to shoot free throws. I think they're probably 1 and 2 for me.
Who is a guy who you think was massively underrated during his playing career?
Underrated. I'll probably say me.
That's a good answer. And here's a good follow-up question. This is the last question in the rapid fire. If you and I played 1-on-1 to 11 tomorrow, what would the final score be? And mind you, I'm 5'10" and about 235 pounds.
If we played to 11, can you shoot?
I can shoot a little bit. You'd have to, if you give me the 3, I'll probably nail 38%.
But what about with a hand in your face?
Listen, my buddy who's 6'4" moved back home. He's been D'ing me up. I've been getting shots over him. I know you're a little bit taller than 6'4". Or you're 6'9", 6'10"?
6'9".
6'9". So it'd be an adjustment for me. But listen, this question's to you. I'm wondering what you think the score would be.
And what you're 5'10"?
5'10", 235. I'm a big boy.
Oh, see, my cardio is not all the way there, so I'll say 11-1 because I'll probably let you shoot. I'd be so tired, I would just let you shoot for something, and you might make one. Well, that's when I was resting.
That was the one you gave me. I was able to hit. All right, I'll take 11-1. That was a good answer. Aaron, thank you so much for coming on. Former Net and NBA power forward Aaron Williams. Is there any entity or anybody you'd like to shout out today?
Just once again, my kids, man. They're doing big things. My daughter graduated Tulane. She's with graduate degree. My son just is transferring to go to Carthage College in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He's going to be playing ball there. And my other daughter will be a senior at Michigan playing basketball. So, they're my pride and joy. And just want to give a shout out to them. Tell them I love them.
I love that. Shout out to Aaron's kids. And Thanks to everyone for listening to another edition of Fireside Nets, brought to you by Empire Sports Media. I'm Spen. He's Pete. And as always, we'll catch you guys on